3, 1. Honourable members, the standing order 53.1 states, the business of each sitting day, as decided by the business committee, shall be set out in the order paper and shall, whenever possible, be transacted in the following order. It is when the motion is admitted, then it is sent to the clerk. The clerk then sends it to the business committee. Then the business committee program it, and then it appears on the order paper. Ordinarily, having regard to standing order 79.4, I would have returned the motion to the member in whose name it stands as being inadmissible. But the motion was tied contemporaneously to the request for the recall of the House under standing order 38.1, which derives from Article 1123 of the Constitution, and therefore leaves me with no discretion in recalling the House. Standing order 79.4 also provides as follows. Every notice shall be submitted to Mr. Speaker, who shall direct that it be printed in its original terms or with such amendments as he shall direct, or that it be returned to the member submitting it as being inadmissible. I am therefore unable to admit this motion. I hereby direct the clerk to return the motion to the member in whose name it stands, in line with standing order 79.4. Honourable members, since this is the matter that has brought us here, I adjourn the House Senate here. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome back. You just heard House Speaker Edward Do Ajahu giving his ruling to this rather controversial request made by the minority. A member of Parliament has joined me to do this discussion. I'll be putting to him questions. The majority are excited about this decision, and who else to do this discussion but a deputy majority chief whip and a member of Parliament for Banda, Mr. Ibrahim Ahmed. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, my good brother.
You, okay, you are sporting white shirt. The majority are excited about this ruling. You've been celebrating.
And brother, let me say a very good evening to our cherished viewers this evening. If you say we've been celebrating, I will say positively yes, simply because we have deepened our democratic dispensation in such a way that what was good yesterday has become good today. Who laughed yesterday is crying today. Meanwhile, it's the same ruling that was given yesterday, the same ruling that has been given today. So sometimes
you are making reference to Alajete's ruling on a similar matter.
Yeah, I did so because when you look at what happened today on the floor of the House, there are certain instances in our political life where MPP will be accusing a certain personality because of a ruling that has not gone in their favor. That ruling tends to stand. Tomorrow, when this MPP is benefiting from it, then they will be laughing. And the same thing goes to the NDC.
Which is integrity deficit for you, the politicians.
And that is clearly what has happened. So the law is sacred and the law stands. But both parties always have what they want to say and what they have to say at certain...
So we should ignore you guys when you complain about something.
Clearly, our democracy keeps on growing. And therefore, when this is the third time such an instance has happened, and I will enumerate all the three instances to you. NDC has benefited once, MPP has also benefited once, has benefited twice. So if today is the fourth time and NDC has also benefited, then it makes it even 2-2. And I see no reason why the same law giving the same interpretation all the time, and both parties keep on accusing the interpreters at certain instances. And that is what makes it funny to me. And that is why I began, since the insertion of this, invoking of this article, by saying that this article, since there are instances or there are precedents where we have to learn from, then I see no reason why MPP should be confused and was channeling or championing that. That's why I said yesterday that it will not see the light of day. And clearly, the same ruling that they benefited for has been given.
Let's deal with the Alajete ruling.
Clearly, if you look at the instances or the cases or the precedents that we have, you know, the first ruling was not by Peter Alajete, it was by Justice Daniel Annam.
Okay.
And it was a case involving the alleged bribery of the late former president of the Republic of Ghana, that's President Rawlings. By a Nigerian president. And
Sani Abacha. And when the incidents, when a motion was filed to the Parliament House to constitute a bipartisan committee to investigate the conduct of the sitting president at that time, Rawlings then, the minority, the Speaker of Parliament at that time said, the 1992 Constitution did not give him the opportunity. That's not permitted
to be admitted, and therefore the motion was inadmissible, and therefore he did not admit it and send it back.
And he was a consummate jurist.
Precisely, back to sender, and he took it back to the minority at that time. Then in 2005, when the late Peter Alajete was changed, and Speaker Ebenezer Sechuhi became the Speaker of Parliament, there was a similar case involving Hotel Kufuor saga, and that was in 2005. If you go to the Parliamentary Hansard on 28th July 2005, the deputy minority leader at that time was the current Speaker of Parliament that we have, Dua Jaho. Fortunately for us, he was accusing Right Honorable Speaker Sechuhi for not admitting the motion to give the Speaker, the Parliament of Ghana, to constitute a bipartisan committee to investigate it. And the Speaker of Parliament, Ebenezer Sechuhi, said that that motion too was inadmissible.
And there was a precedent.
And therefore, there was no way he would allow a bipartisan committee to go and investigate the sitting president, who was by then President Kufuor. This was a case that even Kwesi Pratt, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Insight, even took his cameras that he was going to take a shot at the Hotel Kufuor. There was a serious public outcry. The amount involved in Hotel Kufuor was $3 million.
Yeah, it was not quite. It was 2.7.
Almost $3 million.
Yes.
The Speaker of Parliament said no. Investigating the conduct of President Kufuor at that time was the exclusive jurisdiction of SHRAC, and therefore the motion was inadmissible. Sechuhi also didn't admit it, and therefore Parliament also didn't proceed. Then the third case was when the late chairman of the National New Patriotic Party, that's chairman
Jake Otanka Obichebi Lante, who was also the minister in charge of parliamentary affairs, and at the same time minister for tourism, and later became the Greater Accra regional minister also, who sold a state bungalow to himself. And therefore the case... He didn't quite sell a state bungalow.
We didn't investigate it, so I may not be able to tell you much.
Because he was not in position to sell a bungalow to himself. Let's be fair.
Exactly. Who bought a state bungalow?
Precisely. In which he used to live. In which he used to live.
In any case, he was the regional minister also.
No, at the time he bought it, he was not regional minister.
He was
minister for tourism and modernization of the capital city.
A public officer, to be precise. The law says a public officer.
Because I know that bungalow because I used to pass there to go to GIJ.
So he was a public officer.
So he bought a state bungalow.
When Honorable Okujato Ablakwa and Honorable Dr. Omane Boama took that case to Supreme Court, the Supreme Court ruled, and the ruling was read by Justice Broby, who said on matters of investigating the conduct of a public officer. Chapter 24 of the Constitution was life and clear, and that the exclusive jurisdiction of investigating the conduct of a public officer was the exclusive jurisdiction of SHRAG. Exclusive jurisdiction means SHRAG has that one to himself and nobody else. This is what the Supreme Court said. When they gave this ruling, remember that we in NDC attacked the Supreme Court for this same ruling.
I was just pointing that out to you.
Not to,
and
we
you were,
in
you
NDC.
were upset.
Exactly. But we didn't bend the sea. All we said to ourselves was that time will tell. Today, a similar case.
In fact, I was telling you, one of your, Sam George, who is your parliamentary candidate for E.T. Mensah's constituency, Sam George actually came on News File and questioned the reasoning. In fact, virtually everybody in the NDC lampooned the Supreme Court's decision in this matter and said the decision was immoral, it was corrupt, and it was unacceptable. It's not strange that a decision you so described as immoral and corrupt is now the decision on the basis of which you are founding the Speaker's decision to dismiss this motion.
That is where I'm coming to. You know, I've given two instances, Rollis's case and President Mohammed's case. And I've given the Sani Abacha and Rollis case and how Justice Annan said it was inadmissible. And I've given the one Hotel Kufuor and how Speaker Justice Ebenezer Hughes said it was inadmissible. And I've given that of the Jekotanka Obi-Chepilante and how the Supreme Court said that one too was the exclusive jurisdiction of the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice. Remember that? At that time, we in NDC did not take it easy because we realized that the Supreme Court had given a ruling saying that nobody had the authority or the power to go and investigate the conduct of a public officer. And therefore, if the life or the conduct of a public officer was to be investigated, it was the exclusive preserve of SHRAG. And SHRAG had that one to himself. So we thought, then what again can we do? Okay, time will tell. The Supreme Court has ruled. Justice Brobe had read it. Justice Brobe's integrity, to be precise, was also attacked. And I must be fair to you. And I'm talking that we are in Ghana. At that time, the MPP, they were jubilating about this Justice Brobe's ruling. Today, it is the same Justice Brobe ruling which has become an authority now. And if you go to Parliament today, the way members of Parliament were scrambling for copies of the law report, the Justice Brobe's ruling, let me go and have a copy and see what Justice Brobe said. And Justice Brobe said is categorically clear in unequivocal terms that the exclusive jurisdiction to investigate the conduct of a public officer, whether in bribery case, in abuse of office, in corruption, and all those things, is exclusive preserve of SHRAG.
You guys have picked just a
so that authority is there. So today, we were worried. When the MPP were going to and fro, oh, we've given a motion, we've summoned Parliament, we've invoked Article 112, Parliament is going to investigate a bipartisan committee. Parliament is a creature of the Constitution. Article 93(2) has given the legislative power or authority of the state to Parliament. Article 58(1) has given the executive authority to the President. Article 125(1) has given the judicial authority to the judiciary. So now, if you look at the motion, and Article 284 and 287 has given the investigative authority of conduct of public officers to SHRAG. So now, let's go on. Parliament, who has the exclusive authority to legislate, judiciary, the exclusive judicial authority to interpret the law and to determine whether a law has been breached or not. The MPP minority are now invoking Article 112 and they are calling on the Speaker of Parliament. Do you see the motion that they filed? One, that the Speaker should cause a bipartisan committee to be constituted to investigate whether the President received a fraud expedition from a Burkinabe contractor or not. This too, the Speaker said, is just an open listen out there. The President has not denied it. He said, yes, I received a fraud explorer from a Burkinabe contractor. And it was Chief Baumia, a brother to Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, who collected and brought it, documented, and that it is in the presidential pool. It is not in his house as his president. This was made live and clear. Everybody knows. So if you today, you are calling that Parliament should come and investigate whether the president received it or not, when the president has said that he received it.
But honorable.
Let me finish their motion. Then second item, they said that the bipartisan committee should investigate whether the president has infringed a law or breached any law in Ghana or not. Today, when the constitution which created parliament invested the judicial power to the judiciary to determine whether somebody has breached the constitution or not, breached a law or not, you are saying that parliament should take that one. When did it become the power of parliament to determine whether a law has been breached or not, and not the court? So you see, when you look at all those things,
honorable.
Then three, to see whether the president has breached his own code of conduct. The president's own code of conduct that he has set for himself to self-regulate. We in parliament have set our own code of conduct, which are also self-regulated. But the most powerful code of conduct is what we have in the Constitution. The Constitution is supreme. Article 284, 287, Chapter 24 of the Constitution has said that the conduct of public officers shall be investigated by SHRAG. And it has stated them. 286, like the Speaker said, has enumerated all those officers, starting from the President. So if the Constitution says that SHRAG shall investigate the conduct of public officers,
it didn't actually say shall. If you may read it, read 287.
Mm-hmm. You have to start from 284. A public officer shall not, and this is the opening decision, and that's chapter 24, Code of Conduct for Public Officers. That's what the Constitution has prescribed.
I get that.
This is the Constitution speaking, the supreme law of the land, which supersedes any other law or any other regulation or code of conduct or any other inferior legislation people make. This is the supreme law of the land. Chapter 24, like Justice Brobe quoted, has dealt extensively with conduct of life of public officers. That E284, a public officer shall not put himself in the position where his personal interest conflict or is likely to conflict with the performance of the functions of his office. Okay, so then when you go to 286.5, the public offices to which the provision of this article apply are those of the president of the republic.
Yes.
So the president of the republic is number one. So in a way, the Constitution is saying that the conduct of the president in matters of public conflict of interest, corruption, abuse of office, and all those things shall be investigated by SHRAG. Let's go to 287. An allegation that 2871, an allegation that a public officer has contravened or has not complied with a provision of this chapter shall, and the emphasis there is shall. Shall means is mandatory. Shall be made to the Commissioner for Human Rights and Administrative Justice. And in the case of the Commissioner of Human Rights and Administrative Justice, to the Chief Justice.
I know that. Okay, and honorable, hold on.
So
hold on.
It's life and clear.
This provision, which says that a complaint about a public officer's conduct shall be made to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. The provision doesn't quite say that it is only SHRAG that has jurisdiction to investigate any matter. It didn't quite so. It only says that if you have any complaint, you shall report to you shall file a complaint with SHRAG. It didn't say that SHRAG has exclusive right. And I am surprised that you, the politicians, when it suits you, you are excited about it. When it doesn't, then you cry foul. But I want us to listen to the minority, their complaints after the House Speaker's ruling on this matter. Okay, I'm told that's not quite ready.
I thought you were going to give me the opportunity to rebut one aspect of what you say. You see,
yes, so go ahead.
You see, the highest law of the land, in all that we are doing, if you have to proceed further, the end will be the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has already made pronouncement on this matter.
But the Supreme Court can depart from his own ruling. That's, we all know that.
But so long as the Supreme Court has not departed from this, that is the law that stands now.
I agree. But I'm
So once the Supreme Court has said that matters relating to conduct of public officers, per chapter 24 of the Constitution, are the exclusive, the emphasis there is the exclusive jurisdiction of Shrike. It means Shrike has it to himself. That is the meaning. And it is this is the Supreme Court speaking,
Honorable,
interpreting the Constitution.
Are you the politicians not using the law to protect yourselves? And you just gave us the history of using this law to protect yourself. When there is an issue against the president, you just, all you do is jump to the law and then use it to protect yourself.
The law was created to be interpreted by the judiciary, and that's the highest law, that's the Supreme Court. The law has been tested on several occasions, and therefore when you make a law and you test the law, the ruling that comes out, it's what makes the applicability of the law known to everybody. You remember I told you that the first time such a motion was filed, it was aborted. It was aborted, and it was against President Rawlings, and that is NDC. The second time it was also sent, was also to go against President Kufuor.
I get it.
It was aborted.
The point is,
at that time,
the
it was
point
one man.
Is it not curious to you? Is it not curious to you that Doe Ajahu, as deputy minority leader at the time, who then brought this motion, which was rejected by Bejina Sechi at the time, he cried foul. Today, he is the one who is invoking, because remember that at the time he filed his motion, the precedent set by DF announced ruling was there. And yet, Doe Ajahu is a lawyer and a respected one at that. But let's pick the responses.
The precedent set by DF announced ruling was not a Supreme Court ruling.
No, I understand.
The interpretation of the law is the precedent
on
of
the
Supreme
floor
Court.
of the House.
So now that the Supreme Court has ruled,
you are not telling me
now
that if the Supreme Court
has ruled, Doe Ajahu has no option but to go by
you are
the
not
Supreme
telling me
Court
that if the Supreme Court didn't give this ruling, Doe Ajahu will not use the precedents set by DF Annan and Bejina Sechi. He would have done it. But let's listen to the minority, and then we will come back and you respond to the issues they raise. Let's listen to Minority Leader Osechi Mensah Bonsu. He addressed the press after the House Speaker's ruling.
It would seem to me that you have all heard and witnessed a very hoodless ruling by the Speaker, who claimed that there's nothing before him and yet goes on to make a ruling. I think it's the most cabalistic display of power that we have witnessed in Parliament since the beginning of the Fourth Republic. You saw that we had before us an order paper. Now, our rules provide that the order paper shall be occasioned by a meeting of the business committee. The business committee never met, and yet we had an order paper before us. So, who caused this order paper in this form and format to be printed? Second, the Speaker tells us of discretionary powers that are giving him to admit or not to admit questions, motions, and any such proposals that are submitted to him. We have no quarrel with that. That indeed is statutory. Except that Article 296 of the Constitution provides that in the application of such powers, the Speaker should be regulated to be within the confines of the Constitution. It should not be a whimsical display of power and indeed arrogance. And then in this, what I've described as a very hoodless ruling, the Speaker tells us and tells Parliament, the country, and indeed the entire world that Parliament, in exercising our oversight responsibilities, should stall our activities and subordinate ourselves to the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, an administrative body, an arm of government should subordinate ourselves to SHRAC because it involves an issue of corruption. And he says that it's a ruling from the Supreme Court. His understanding of the Supreme Court's ruling. Indeed, if you are to follow the Speaker, it will mean that the recent case against some judges, which also involve corruption, ought to have gone to Supreme Court, ought to have gone to SHRAC, and not the courts. What kind of ruling is this? Listen, colleagues, the intention of what we had submitted before the Speaker was to enable us discuss without any emotions, be very dispassionate about the exercise of our oversight responsibilities. And I guess for the avoidance of doubt, I would want to take us through what we intended to do. And thereafter, I may give you copies. Because the Speaker says to us that he is vested with the power to accept a motion or a proposal to him on the face of the submission. Two, that he could accept subject to some amendments. That is also true. Three, that he could also reject the proposal. That is also true. Except that conventions and practice and even common sense dictate that in applying yourself to any of these parts, you should have some engagement with the person submitting the proposal to you. I think that is commonsensical, and that is the practice of any established parliament. That the Speaker decided to act otherwise, he can explain himself.
You're welcome back. You just heard Osechi Mensah, so he's the minority leader, expressing anger at the decision taken by the House Speaker to dismiss their motion, and as the honorable member points out, back to sender. And what is the majority afraid of? If you were interested in transparency, why didn't you allow the process to go on? And why did you marshal the entire machinery of the government? The Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, was in Parliament. The General Secretary of the governing party, Johnson Asiri Nketia, was in Parliament. Ministers were all there. Why did you marshal the entire government machinery to Parliament over just a simple matter of requesting an investigation into a gift, a controversial gift at that, was given to the president?
My good brother, you see, we have been too law-abiding, and therefore people sometimes take our leniency to be our weaknesses. The way we accommodate opposition in this country is more than the way other parties, when they are in power, accommodate even NDC. And I'm telling you that ours, such views did not give any reason for not even admitting the motion that was filed against Hotel Kufos.
You said he said he was.
I'm telling you, it was just back to sender.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Hughes was also a respected lawyer. There was no way he would have just taken a decision like that.
28th July 2005 Hansard, and you could see the minority asking the Speaker in his closing remark as to why no reasons were given for not admitting that.
But that's a controversial statement. When you say that minority is being unduly or undeservedly entertained, that's to question the integrity of
the Speaker has whimsically and capriciously acted on their motion, and that's because he has accommodated you for invoking the Constitution. He has given you the opportunity that when you invoke the Constitution, have no option
have recalled
Honorable,
you.
they are bona fide members of the House. They are elected by their constituents.
Precisely so.
If
When the Speaker is also elected and he has given his reasons,
the Speaker is not elected. The Speaker is nominated. The Speaker is not elected. The Speaker is elected by who? The Speaker is not
by
elected.
the members of Parliament.
Absolutely, but if representatives of the people believe that they have a justifiable cause to ask for an investigation and a bipartisan investigation into a conduct of the president, and you dismiss their motion, you cannot say that they are being tolerated. You can't dismiss them with the wave of a hand.
When your reasons are given to you, that look, my brother, the motion could have...
They are entitled to disagree with the reasons. You just said that when Doa Ajaho himself, when his motion was dismissed, he was justified.
He was not giving reason. It was just thrown away.
That couldn't have been the case.
Exactly. But on this case, in this case, the recall, the Speaker has occasioned the recall. Then he has given.
Why didn't he allow the motion to be taken and debated? And then you, the majority,
allowing a motion when you say you don't want a role conflict. Parliament in coalition cause with the Supreme Court, Parliament to
no, but allowing the motion
you don't want a role conflict.
But allowing
Parliament
the motion,
in coalition cause with the Shrag.
Honorable,
you don't want a role conflict.
You know
Parliament
that,
to breach the very constitution that established Parliament.
You know that,
and you are saying that because it's the Speaker issue, a legal luminary like Speaker Doa Ajaho should allow this thing to proceed.
You know that allowing the motion on the floor of the House did not automatically mean that the investigation will be conducted, because the motion would have been debated. And the decision would have been taken. And you, the majority, have decided that you will kick against it.
You see, parliamentarians are serious people, and therefore you can't take the time, precious time of a member of Parliament for granted. The issue per the Speaker's ruling that is already before Shrag. The issue aspect of this issue is before Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. If you read the minority leader statement that he read, he is saying that even though it is before Parliament,
which aspects of it is before the
Public Accounts Committee.
Which aspects?
The issue about the statement that they have read, you know, they are tying the four that the president received to the foreign embassy contract, that the work that the contractor
$650,000 worth.
Exactly, that is before Parliament, and they have included it as part of their press conference. If you juxtapose the two, you realize that we were not in any serious business. And my brother, you can't say because minority has brought something, how should you waste my precious time coming to sit in a class when you yourself, you know, the constitution is already pending.
But I'm saying that you yourself, when you were in opposition, you took similar motion before the Speaker.
It wasn't a recall of Parliament.
Whatever it is, you took a similar motion before. You cannot now
describe. We were in our houses.
You see, you are describing this motion as frivolous, and I'm saying that you yourselves took a similar motion before the House Speaker at that time.
Did the Speaker admit it?
He didn't.
Ours was the second.
When it was dismissed, you were angry.
So why should there be it? Exactly. Somebody will definitely be.
Are you telling me for certainty that if tomorrow there was the NDC were to be in opposition,
which we will not be?
Granted, but I'm saying that if tomorrow you were to find yourself in opposition, in the minority,
which will also not happen.
Yes, you were to be in the minority,
which will be unlikely.
An MPP president or a PPP president were to receive a gift from a contractor, and it became a controversial matter, such as this Ford gift was. Can you guarantee that you will not send a similar motion and call for an investigation?
You see, that is where we were getting it wrong. When Shrag has been the only constitutional body.
Because Shrag is an administrative body.
If you read their
Parliament is an arm of government.
Shrag is what?
So it's a constitutional body.
Shrag is the constitutional investigative body.
Nonetheless, it is an administrative body.
Do you know the powers of parliamentary investigation could be our standing orders?
You cannot.
Have you gone into our standing orders?
You can't place Shrag at the same level as Parliament.
Are you now telling me that Justice Bobe has?
Are you saying that Shrag has the same standing in the Constitution?
Did Justice Bobe include parliamentary bipartisan committee in his Supreme Court ruling?
The crux of Justice Bobe's case, the crux of their ruling was actually not about investigations, because the matter brought before them. The matter brought before them by my friend Omane Buama and Ablakwa was not about the conduct of an investigation.
It was about what?
The ruling was that, first of all, they accused Jake of conflict of interest. The court disagreed.
Which was which fall under which aspect of the Constitution?
The court
which falls under which aspect of the Constitution?
Of course, Article 24. Yes, chapter 24.
What is the heading of what
chapter
is,
24?
Let's simplify.
But
What is the heading of chapter 24?
I am saying that
simplify it before we make progress. What is the heading of chapter 24?
The cracks.
Don't go further.
The cracks of the cracks of
what is the heading of chapter 24?
The cracks of the case.
Chapter 24
the
is
cracks
about
of Omani Boama and Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa versus the Attorney General and Jake Obechame-Lamptey.
You get it wrong. You see, it was about the conduct of Jake. This Hotels Kufuor saga was the conduct of President Kufuor. This one is about the conduct of President Mahama. They are all the same. And the ruling was that on investigative powers of the conduct of a public officer is the exclusive jurisdiction of SHRAG.
Ablakwa and Co were not asking what their release were not for investigation. They wanted a declaration.
That is why
they were seeking a declaration that, first of all, Jake had abused his office. One of the declarations they were seeking was abuse of office.
It's also under a conduct of public officer.
But I'm saying that they were not asking for investigations.
The conduct of a public officer has to do with conflict of interest, abuse of office, corruption, and others. You can't limit it to only one. This was just
you
about.
Quite answer me what the majority was running away from. Why don't
we
want
were
the
not?
president
We said raw conflict. If you listen to what.
Why did you marshal all the government people to parliament?
The constitution says.
What was the? Why was the chief of staff in parliament?
The chief of staff.
Why was the general secretary of the NDC in parliament?
The general secretary, the chief of staff.
Why were the ministers in parliament?
The constitution says they must.
You marshaled all of these people in parliament. Why?
Wrong. You see, the constitution has said. Let me read it for you. Ministers of state have the opportunity or the power to be in parliament, to take part even in debate in parliament.
I agree.
They may not be members of parliament,
why
but they have the power per the
entire government machinery
that one is there
to the parliament over this matter.
When
you knew that the speaker was going to dismiss it, by the way.
Every serious politician, when landmark cases like this, I've mentioned to you that in 24 years of our democratic dispensation, this is the third or fourth one. So it doesn't frequently happen. Therefore, when it is happening and you are a politician, it is your opportunity to go to parliament and listen to what is happening. In future, if you happen to be there and such a case happen, then you use it as a case study
in future,
or as a precedent.
Let me read a few comments. This person said, Mr. Bass, why are you running a one-man show? It's one-sided from the majority side. Please try and be fair. This is from Michael Nyamisefriasu. And he says, we made several attempts. There was nobody we didn't call. We called the minority leader himself. We called Oseche Mensah Bonso, that is. We called Joe Osewusu. We called Atachia. We called Obi Amwa. Very many of them. We called Eslo Owusu. We couldn't reach any of them. Those we reached said they wouldn't come. So please, it's not that we decided to do a one-sided show and we play the minorities argument. This person said, Mr. MP, you think tomorrow is for you and your corrupt party. You are deceiving yourself by saying that your party will remain in power after the election. Wait and see. This is Michael Sefriosu. Malik, frankly speaking, the speaker is absolutely right. Minority in the House has really wasted time of his members. On the side of the speaker, he's well vested with the superlative hand of parliament, parliamentary proceedings. Congratulations, Honorable Rice Speaker Ignatius Moses Negle. This one. The minority itself is whimsical and capricious. They want to score cheap political points. This is Jambedu Adnan Boku. This one, Malik, I was wondering, such a long message. Malik, I was wondering how a special parliamentary committee would investigate an issue that a constitutional body like the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice is dealing with, resulting from petitions from individuals and two political parties. The petitions were simply poor in logic. The petition was simply poor in logic, poorer in reasoning, and actually a wanton waste of scarce national resources. No wonder the Speaker directed the clerk to send the petition back to its author. God bless Ghana. And this is Barima Kubaji. Jenny. He sends me a message almost on every show. May I know whether what my brother is talking about? Is he talking for MPP? He doesn't allow the NDC man to talk. He's asking me. There's no MPP on this show. I have a responsibility to hold the honorable member to strict proof. I'm just doing my job. I'm not talking for the MPP. Malik, I thought you were supposed to ask the questions and listen to the answers, but it appears you are talking more than your guest. Please let him talk. He knows that he has said a lot, and I allowed him to say all the things that he wants to say. Hey, too many people are asking me, am I a representative of the MPP? Let me see. How could the minority leaders stood so low in this manner in the person of his status by which he should have known better before filing this motion? I think the minority should be serious in whatever they do with the mandate given them by the electorate. This is Felix Tamale. So many of them. So many of them. I didn't get a clear answer. Your view is it was important for all of these people.
A role conflict. You see, the minority, they said in their press conference that the Shrag boss is appointed by the president, and therefore calling him to go and do investigation and those kind of things. It's like it appears from their press conference that they did not have confidence in the Shrag boss. We cannot go back.
Which is not strange, because you yourself, let me tell you. Alban Bagbin, your minority, your majority leader,
which among the Supreme Court justices have not been appointed by a president?
When Alban Bagbin brought a case against Richard Anani at Chiraj, and the ruling was given, he raised questions about the quality of investigations that were done.
Malik, that's where we have it wrong. If that is what they are saying, then tomorrow they say the Electoral Commission, which is also a constitutional body, Parliament.
Because I'm just pointing out that the questions they are raising about
we go and collect
Chirag.
Electoral Commission's work
I'm
and
just
do.
pointing out that
a bipartisan committee, we go and collect Chirag work and do. A bipartisan committee, we go and collect Media Commission's work and do. Is that the lie we want to go?
I'm just saying that the questions they are raising about
is that
Chirag,
the way we want to go?
You would have done same.
Oh, we will not do same.
You have done same in the past. You have questioned the work of Chirag before.
From our mistakes. Why should we keep on repeating mistakes? Repeated mistakes is not the best in anybody's life. Therefore, if they filed the same motion against a sitting president under Rawlings' regime, it was not admitted. The same motion against President Kufuor, it was not admitted. The same case against Jacob Javilante, it was not given the opportunity to stand. The same motion against John Dramani Mahama. This is the fourth time. Why should we keep on going the same way when the Supreme Court has made a categorical statement on this? A pronouncement on it that this is now the way to go. The constitution is life and clear. Why do we keep on committing avoidable mistakes?
The minority say this is not done.
Which is not done? That they will pursue this.
Yes.
I told you yesterday that I told your sister station, Adum FM, that the minority are running away from the campaign grounds. You see, when they go to the rural areas or when they go to the polling stations, all the 29,000 polling stations, they have nothing to show. And Ghanaians will request from you what you did when you were given the mandate. If you have nothing to show and you realize that your opponent goes, he has a school to show, he has a university to show, he has a hospital to show, he has a road to show,
so
they are
running away from the ground.
So running away from the ground, and therefore they think we should come and sit in the ground and be talking. Let's go and show what we have done. And that is the evidence in the name of the game.
Thank you for joining us on this discussion. We are most grateful.
You
heard the member of parliament for Banda, Ibrahim Ahmed. He's also a deputy majority chief whip. You heard his arguments.
You realize that they run away.
We'll bring you another discussion on this tomorrow.
Make it clear that the minority are running away from their own motion.